Alrighty, welcome back to the Movie World Marathon. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Mac. Yay.
Yeah, and we're
Yeah.
working our way through our Spider-Man marathon.
Mm-hmm.
That's like pretty
Spider-Man
strong. We're
2.
only on week 2, so yeah. But we're on week 2.
We're making progress.
Yes,
We've
we're.
not been held back by my own failures.
Yeah, we're not all late at posting either, because some of us are also busy and lazy. It'll be fine. I'm
That's
thinking.
right. No one's paying
I'm
attention.
thinking about moving the days from Monday to Wednesday, so that we talk and then I post
Okay.
maybe. So we'll see. I don't know. That being
Mm-hmm.
said,
Mm-hmm.
the first what doesn't matter. We're on Spider-Man 2. Came out June 30th, 2004. Directed by Sam Raimi, of course. Starring once again Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, Bruce Campbell. Got to mention that one. James Franco and Rosemary Harris, and then introducing Alfred Molina and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Donna Murphy, and of course we got J.K. Simmons coming back, and yeah, a bunch of Elizabeth Banks is back again, and a bunch of people are back again, and there's a bunch of I guess at the time nobodies who kind of appear here. It's like
Yeah.
Joel McHale is in here as Mr.
Uh-huh.
Jax, and
Uh-huh.
Asif Mandavi is Mr. Aziz. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of sitcom people who pop up in this movie.
It was very strange to just suddenly recognize all the faces. It really
Uh-huh.
was.
Yeah. But yeah, Spider-Man 2. So I kind of indicated I'm gonna get going real quick because
Go
I need
for
to
it.
clear some air, I think.
Oh.
Well, last week I indicated, I don't know if it was on episode or not, I'm not the biggest fan of this movie. A lot of people consider this the
Mm.
best Spider-Man movie out there. I just
Mm.
never see it. I just don't get it. Um there's a lot that I just didn't like. I have lots of good, fun nitpicks. But I've seen this movie lots of times too, but having watched it this time, doing that thing we do for this project, kind of got me. Like I saw it.
Did it?
I get
Because
it. I get it for the
that's
most
kind of my
part.
note too, is like I
Like,
generally am very derisive towards this trilogy. And I sat down and I watched this film, and there
sons
were
of
parts that reminded me
bitches.
of all my old hates because it still has problems.
No, it
But
does. It does. But the
but
good stuff is so good that it
the good
almost
stuff is
drowns it out.
very
You
good.
sons of
Yes, exactly.
bitches. I'm
Yes,
so
they
annoyed.
almost pulled it off with this film. So close they might as well have pulled it off, kind of in
Like,
my book.
yeah.
Because it's actually
I
pretty good at
Yeah.
times.
And I have some personal biases regarding the relatability of Spider-Man that there's some things about this movie I don't like that I know are a me thing. I'll say that straight up. I know
Okay.
it's a me thing.
Hmm.
And we can get in we can get into what those are later on. There is a layer of cringe. It's just early 2000s
Hmm.
Toby, some of the writing is a little dramatic. Yeah, there's
The
a layer of
framing
cringe. Yeah,
not
sure.
right sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's very melodramatic. Again, Toby, Kirsten, whatever. But it it really hit me more than it ever has in the past. And I don't know. I was surprised. Like I don't want to hop around too much, so I'll try to reel it
Hmm.
in for a second. But the first 10 minutes just illustrating how busy he is, that's
Hmm.
not new to me. Like I get it. I get that's what they're doing. But it impacted me more just keeping track of it, trying to think of it as that's really just one day that he's doing all this stuff and failing at all of it, and it was very stressful. Um,
Yeah.
and they sneak in some humor and they sneak in some fun
Hmm.
stuff as well, which just again just adds to it being so good. Oh, Bones is also in this. She's the secretary lady
Yes.
at the she's
Temperance. Hello.
yes, just popping up. And it's just so sad and stressful over and over. He gets fired and then he's late for this, he's late for that, he's out of money, he can't pay his rent. And yeah, this isn't new. But for some reason it hit more. And
Mm.
it I'm gonna elaborate on what my big issue is before I stop because I know I'll rant. But I've always taken issue with him choosing to stop being Spider-Man.
Hmm.
And we can elaborate on that a little bit further because it's
Yeah, I've got thoughts on that too, but I don't think
yes.
it's going the way you're going. So I'm here now.
I still have mixed thoughts on it, but when he quits, I get it more. Like I allowed
Mhm.
myself to feel it more in
Mhm.
this. I still take issue where a lot of people consider this the best Spider-Man movie, where he decides to quit cold turkey, but hate Far From Home, and one of their critiques being that he is not taking his responsibility seriously when all that motherfucker wanted was a week off, and this asshole,
Yeah.
this other asshole, the OG asshole, wants to quit, and that's fine. That's cinema, Martin Scorsese meme,
Mhm.
but little Tom Holland's just wanting a goddamn week to himself. That was terrible. That doesn't get the character. That's for a couple of months from now. But I felt it more
Yeah,
when he
no.
quits, and I feel the impact, and I understand.
This
But I
opening does a
yeah.
really good job of putting you into Peter's shoes,
Mm-hmm.
where like you recap the first film with the credits, right? And by the way, really pretty. We go really sci-fi for the first ones.
Mm-hmm.
This one's just a recap. It feels a little basic to us, but again, remember we're working
Yeah.
with people who are probably not familiar with this format,
It goes a
right?
little long,
So
is all I was gonna say. That could have been a
sure,
little shorter.
sure. Um, and anyway, the art's good and
Oh
it
yeah.
recaps the story. It gets the major moments right up to the point where we're picking up the story kind of where we left off with the whole like tragic MJ romance thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is my one major critique in this
Only
opening.
one?
We
Oh, in the
should
opening.
not be starting with MJ. I get it. We're supposed to be like feeling really sad because he's denied like himself the opportunity to be in a relationship with MJ because she basically said, "Let's do it," and he was like, "Can't."
Uh huh.
Um, I get it. I get that's what we're doing. It doesn't work. If all we do is base Peter's whole life about whether or not his love story is working out for him, we are neglecting everything else that's going on with his life, which is where we spend most of the movie. We spend
Mm-hmm.
most of the movie on his responsibilities as Peter and as Spider Man. And obviously, MJ is a part of that, a
Mm-hmm.
relatively important part of that. But we should not be framing everything on the romance, especially because apparently, based off the effort they put into the acting and the like framing of the romance in the story, it's really not that important. They really don't seem to care that much about it as storytellers. Anyway, so I don't like that part. But the rest of it is really good. Like I enjoy the Peter's trying to deliver the pizza sequence. It's funny and appropriately very Spider-Man,
The
where he
closet
has to stop
part
and do
doesn't
the
make any
things.
sense, but yes, the
That's
rest
the
of it
one
is
critique I have of
pretty
it as well. I
fantastic.
was like, I love the delivery sequence, but the map thing kills me. Just leave them, dude. You can knock them down, deliver the
Yeah.
pizzas, and go back and fix them in
Well,
a
also,
second.
I hate to be that guy, but you know what? No,
Hmm.
I don't. Where did you put your clothes?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I almost think it would have been funnier if Mr. Raimi is taking notes. Just have Spider-Man deliver the pizza. You know? And they'd be like, I'm helping out a friend. Everyone knows that Parker takes pictures of
Hmm.
Spider-Man. Like, just, I'm helping out
Hmm.
a buddy. Because what you're showing us is that Spider-Man sneaks into that closet with clothes hidden somewhere and a whole stack of pizzas, and this lady didn't notice because Spider-Man is quick and stuff. But like, okay, but so is Peter Parker. And it's not working when he leaves the closet. So just have
Yeah,
him deliver the pizza. You know,
yeah.
whatever, fine.
The comedy is so good in this bit though, and that's what I feel like I was missing
Yeah,
most in the last film in terms of like Peter Parker and Spider-Man scenes. Like sure we had a few quips, but they were poorly paced and it really wasn't that funny
yeah.
most of the time. This one starts funny and they managed to balance the funny with the serious things they're introducing in the intro, like this
Mm-hmm.
whole like monologue about promises and Peter standing there like it matters to me, it does, please
Yeah.
don't take the job, I
Well,
need this job.
yeah.
It's you feel his pain and
Mm-hmm.
you're also laughing at the same time because it's such an intense conversation about delivering pizzas,
Yeah,
you know,
it
like
is.
it's
There's
really good.
there is genuinely good humor in this movie, but there is
Hmm.
still the small issue of it's not Spider-Man that's doing it. Like you get so
True.
close. Like we're still missing a
Hmm.
kind of an aspect of the character that we explore in later films. But
I think
like
we do get some Spider-Man funny quips, but not as many as we
here's
get
your
Peter Parker being
change
funny
is
in
the
this one.
only one I can think of.
Yeah,
That's the only one. I don't think he
yeah.
says a word during the train sequence. I don't want to skip all the way ahead to that because it's really, really good. But like,
Mhm.
he does
Okay, you make a good point.
the fun. I can think of funny moments. There's lots of funny moments, but like the funny moments are that one girl burns her hand on the spoon. Anything almost that J.K. Simmons does. the flipping before getting hit by the car, and the kids are like, "How'd you do that?" And like him telling them, "Eat
Yeah.
your green vegetables." Like the kids are funny in that, not him.
Yeah.
And then
And
Bruce
the kids
Campbell's
being
character is
like,
funny.
my mom said that, but I didn't
I just
believe
never
her.
ever actually believed her. Like that's all great and funny. So yeah, there's some humor, but it's not coming from Spider-Man. And then there's like the guy getting kicked, and then Aunt May smacking his hand from like so he can't take the gold coin.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you're like yeah, Peter Parker in
Okay,
this
you make
universe
a
is not
strong
exactly
point.
yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Anyway,
Peter's life
the
sucks.
scene itself is funny. It manages to
Yes,
set up major things. It manages to remind
yes,
us of previous things that are currently happening. They do
yes.
this all while making Peter relatable and more of Peter Parker than he has been in the previous film all at
Mm-hmm.
once, right?
Mm-hmm.
They balance it pretty well. It does get a little extreme at a couple of points, like who seriously doesn't stop to help the guy who dropped all of his stuff on the sidewalk? Seriously, who steps on the book of the
Yeah,
guy who dropped all
yeah.
of his stuff on the sidewalk? That's
Uh-huh.
not a thing that happens unless it's by accident. And then you feel so bad that you stop and you help him pick the stuff up, right? So
Yeah,
like
everyone else is an asshole in this world.
yeah, yeah, that's not realistic. I love that we get to see Doc Connors again just for
Little
funsies.
me got so excited. It's like, oh my god, we're doing it. It's Dr. Connors. We're gonna get the
They've
wizard.
teased us twice
They
and it's not
did.
happened.
No, it's not. But yeah, it's upsetting. He's
um,
late. He's got a paper on fusion that's
yeah,
still overdue. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Then we go to the birthday party, and the birthday party sucks, but it's fine. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's there. And MJ's still being weird.
It's
And
well written, but
yeah,
it sucks
sure.
the birthday party.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Harry's being Harry, and Aunt May is sad, and everyone's got money problems. And that's like that's one of my personal biases is that it's cool to portray it and all that, but I hate money problems, and I like how relatable
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man is, so I don't like that I relate to his money problems. Just let the man have money. Just let the man have
Mm-hmm.
money. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that
Yeah,
sucks.
the amount of debt that he's clearly in this film does stress me out
Oh,
quite
it
a
stressed me
bit.
out so much, and I know that's not the
Yeah.
point of the movie, but that's what my stupid little brain goes to. So yeah, then we go back to our little studio apartment, and like, cool, it sucks, it's awful, whatever. It's very Peter Parker, very stressed. Um, and then I don't remember the exact series of events, but we meet Doctor Otto Octavius, and my
Yeah.
God. What an era to be in where there's not a dramatic reveal of a character. It's not. I don't want to quite say it's refreshing, but it is different.
He's
Um,
just
he's just there. He's just hanging out.
he's
He's just
so
doing his thing.
good.
Yeah, he's great. Alfred Molina as Doc Ock was pretty good. I like that they gave him.
He kind of steals the
He
show.
does.
Like
He does. I like that they didn't give him the creepy, shitty bowl cut that Doc Ock often has.
mm,
I
mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Doc Ock deviations I think in this movie that I'm okay with.
Yeah, they make him like kind of charismatic.
They do.
Um
Charming.
and not necessarily in like a perfect sort of like suave way, but in a sort of like a man who's sure about
Hmm.
life and has puts a little effort into his personal grooming and everything. Basically, he contradicts the whole like crazy doctor stereotype, which I feel like is what Doc Ock is kind of originally. It's like the mad
Yeah.
scientist vibes. Um, and I feel like that sidestep actually works really well with what the role he plays in this film. I'm actually not that familiar with like Dr. Octavius before
Hmm.
the arms, so I'm not sure how many
I
deviations we take,
I just
but
I hate him in the comic books. He's such a piece of
mm,
shit in the comics I've read. He's so ugly and weird and just got such a terrible superiority complex. That's where the superior
mm,
Spider-Man story comes from. And like
mhm.
in this, he's I'll come back to that because I don't know how much of him is him and how much of him is influenced by the arms. But
Mm, mhm,
he's got a healthy relationship. He's very driven. He's very
mhm.
passionate. He seems very intelligent. He also takes the time to talk
He
to this student.
respects he respects the like wideness of academia. He's not
Right.
just like sciences. He
His
like
his
loves the fact that his relationship can
yes,
explain to him things he doesn't understand, and
his
he's still trying to
goal
understand it.
is
It's
also
so
to
good.
help people, which is I think
Yeah.
huge.
Mhm.
So like Doc
Mhm.
Ock in the big Spider-Man game that came out several years ago, that's a pretty good one. He's kind of misled, pushed to the brink kind of guy who's just kind of snaps after being pressured into like it was the pressure of life, if I recall correctly. The Doc Ock from the Superior or the Spectacular Spider-Man, Doctor Octopus is great. Doc Ock, like Otto Octavius, is just kind of a squirrely little assistant to Norman Osborn, and eventually snaps
Mm-hmm.
because of the abuse he takes. So like there's lots of different
Mm-hmm.
versions. This is like the most, up until a certain point, shall I say. This is the most I find believable and the most heartfelt and the most interesting and the most tragic. And I like this
Mm-hmm.
interpretation.
It's nice to have, if we're going to go ahead and do the sort of split personality thing again, it's nice to be able to genuinely connect to the guy who is being taken over, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's essentially what the goblin is in most of his stories.
Yeah.
And Norman is generally considered like an all right dude, but we're also not 100% on all his motivations and choices. Whereas this guy is, he's got his life together. He's responsible. He's thoughtful. The most reckless thing he does is a little bit of ego when he's certain that his experiment won't go wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even that, he has precautions that manage to. I mean, he could have blown up half of New York. He doesn't, right? So like, there are things that he did to make sure that things were safe. Um, he does also though reap his own like the consequences of
Yeah.
his mess, and that I don't know how I feel about that honestly.
I want to come back to some of that. I'd like to talk about a few more
Hmm.
positives because I have a lot of nitpicks regarding Doc Ock that I
Hmm.
don't think are unfair to bring up. Um,
Hmm.
but uh, so we're having some existential crises, and our
Hmm.
powers are going away. Oh my gosh, crazy! It's
Yeah,
wild. I'm
this is one of the things I take issue with.
I take a lot of issue with this actually. Like the way it's portrayed in the movie, I'm not like overly upset about it because it's like it's a good question to explore, having the choice,
Hmm.
how life sucks, and my
Hmm.
powers are going away anyway. Um, fuck it, I'm gonna get into nitpicks. God damn it. Okay, so with the powers going away thing, I
Hmm.
am profoundly mixed on it. For
I
one,
have a pretty good like framework for what I think it should be
well,
if we are going to do it,
yeah.
but go ahead and give your critiques and then I can get into my like fix
Well,
for it essentially.
there's a lot of things. I This might be a me thing. I don't like that his powers are affected by his psyche. I just don't.
Yeah.
I do not like
Yeah.
this interpretation of how it works. I understand that's like what they're going for. He's just that conflicted. I don't really care. Like there are certain superheroes where I think it does make sense, but most of them I would say are like Jean, Charles,
Hmm. Hmm.
maybe fucking
Things that are directly connected to the mental
yes,
state,
yes, like
that makes
Hulk,
sense.
maybe Beast in some versions, or
Hmm.
characters whose powers require thought. I don't even mean like
Hmm.
Jean, but like it takes effort to do the thing, not
Hmm.
people whose biology is just changed. Like Beast Boy having a
Hmm.
psychological block and he can't like turn into other animals in the first season of Titans, and that's their explanation to cover their lack of budget. Fine. He's also learning. But this dude is just changed, and because he's this conflicted, his whole physiology fully changes. I also understand that's the whole premise of Split, a movie I like a lot. But like there's a difference between the guy in Split going through the different like options that the human
Alters.
body has, and like the alters
Hmm.
have different physiologies because like, but I would argue that their DNA isn't changing and they aren't
Hmm.
shifting from superhuman to regular human, and like I
Hmm.
also, because I don't like it, I have a headcanon that that's not what's happening in this movie.
Agreed.
It's purely he doesn't have the
Psychological.
time. Well, I think it's physiological. I think it's
Ooh.
he doesn't have the time to care for himself, and he's neglected himself so much that to the point where his powers
Huh.
are because
Uh-huh.
when you
That
have
works too.
organic web shooters, you have to explore where it comes from, and they do in the comics eventually.
Yeah.
He has to eat starchy foods to keep up with the
To
web fluid
replenish.
production. So he loses his powers, quote unquote, has what I imagine is maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a month of rest, probably better work, better. Well, we'll come back to that. Maybe eating more, and I think he just comes back around because also I do. I know I'm hopping around, but I'm on a roll here. Just bear with me for a second.
I'm following.
I don't like that the thing that brings him back is MJ getting in trouble, especially after he's already decided to go back. He's already
Yep.
decided I'm coming back because it's been
Yep.
smacked. He's been smacked in the face. But I'm torn that we had to learn that lesson again. That's the whole point of what happened last movie. I don't like that we like it's like Superman 2 but a little bit better. It's like, motherfucker, what did you think was gonna happen? Why are you surprised that you can't help this child? Why are you surprised that someone got stuck on a burning building and died? Did you think that all crime was gonna end? And like, dude, you quit when Doc Ock was still out and about. The last thing you did was stop him from trying to kill your aunt.
More specific. Did you? Because I don't think he was dumb enough to think that crime would stop, but I do think he was dumb enough to believe he wouldn't care.
Which is
He's like, I've
really,
decided I'm done, so
that's
I'm
so
not going to
stupid.
care.
That's so stupid.
And that's not how it works.
That's so stupid. And like, I think it's meant to show a lot of character that he runs into a burning building. It's very much, if you're nothing without this suit, you shouldn't have it. But we don't have that issue with this Peter Parker. That's all good and fine. It's amazing, that sequence, to see the contrast of the first movie and this movie. Like, yeah, I get it. But him hearing that someone got trapped there and died, it's like, you're a fucking genius. Do you not see the papers? 75% crime increase. People are dying, and there's things you could stop. I don't love that. I think there's a version of this where he loses his powers because of some sort of physiological thing, and he has to choose whether or not he wants to try to get them back. Not given an out of jail free card, and then like, because there's a version of this where he absolutely doesn't come back because he doesn't know what's happening. But all that to say,
and it's not like he can go to anybody who can help him figure it out either.
Exactly. But all that to say, I don't like that the thing that then comes back is MJ being in trouble, because that's also portrayed in a way his powers never went away. The spider sense worked. The car was coming. I don't like that at all. That it took MJ being. I know that there's like the classic romance adventure story, knight, chivalry, my woman, my love. Oh, it has sparked in me this. No, fuck you.
Well,
like,
it's
just
very similar to the whole, like, what do they call it? That thing that the commonly used story is like a mother who could lift a car to get her child out.
The
like
adrenaline. But like,
rush
I would have
thing.
thought that would come from falling off of a building.
Yeah. No,
Or
it's
being
very
in the
movie
fire.
storytelling to, use that sort of like loved ones in danger. I care about the loved one, therefore I can do more than I could do before. That is a common thing that I actually am often a sucker for. However, it doesn't work in the context of the story. And this is why I think I got even more upset with the MJ opening as the story went on, because it's actually a really, really interesting story to have Peter so exhausted that for some reason his powers go away, right? He has identified Spidey as the thing that is ruining his life. Being Spider-Man is ruining his life. Literally, he can't pay his rent. He can't hang out with his people. He's missing dates. He's trying to be there for the girl he loves, even though they can't be together, and he keeps disappointing her, right? Like, that takes a toll on you. And I'm actually all for the idea that it is like a physiological problem, like in the same way that some people, like, limp from an old injury or something, right? Like, there's something that blocks him. But the rule should sort of run like this. Mentally, I've decided that Spider-Man is the problem. So my subconscious is noticing my exhaustion, noticing that I've identified Spider-Man as the problem, and shutting off my ability to be Spider-Man. I still have all the physical elements that make me Spider-Man, but I am no longer able to access them because my brain is subconsciously trying to save my life. And that's kind of often what psychological problems are like. They're either about comfort, doing what is familiar because it is comfortable, or they're about the brain trying to save you by denying you options. And burnout is what that is. Burnout is your brain shutting down, telling you we have no more energy reserves, we can't do this anymore, and making it impossible for you to continue. That's what's happening to Peter right now. He's getting burnt out. Instead, they make it a metaphor for impotence, essentially. And it only really happens in both movies, by the way. his failure to produce a web only happens after MJ rejects him in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's incredibly frustrating because
Yeah.
again, we're centering MJ when it's not even like a good part of the story that's happening here. Like and so like if it's a psychological thing that's happening because of burnout and then he goes cold turkey, what should happen is psychologically it comes back. He's decided he's not doing it anymore and it haunts him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's not physically showing superior strength or anything anymore, but maybe he's having dreams about saving people, right? Like it should like he should be once he goes cold turkey, it should come back in the opposite direction. The pendulum should swing in the other direction, where
Mm-hmm.
now being Spider-Man is haunting him. And
Mm-hmm.
not just in a way where he's like realizing the consequences of not being Spider-Man, but like his body is sort of like, hey, I'm ready to go swing through the city of New York. Are we not going to do that anymore? And it's bothering him,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that would be the appropriate way to do this because like it's obviously not correct that going cold turkey is the right move. And I would argue that it's not just because of a moral responsibility. It has to do with identity and it has to do with like physical ability, not just morally who we are or what our responsibility is. So it shouldn't just be that he feels bad to like because he's no longer got his power so he can't save people anymore and then he feels guilt for a thing he supposedly can't control anyway,
Mm-hmm.
but it should instead be I feel guilt because I've decided to ignore this thing even
Mm-hmm.
though I have the ability, right? And that's where the responsibility and ability thing comes in. With great power comes great responsibility. If he doesn't have that greater power,
He doesn't
he
have the
should not
responsibility.
feel the responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if going cold turkey means that it doesn't come back, he has actually somehow physically chosen to not be superhuman anymore, then it doesn't really matter. He can feel bad all he wants about losing that ability, but it shouldn't just come back because he wants it to,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that's not how it works. Instead, it should be bothering him. He should be actively ignoring it because he's identified it as the problem falsely. And it's only when he embraces both sides of himself equally, he's learned to take care of himself and also do the thing
Yeah.
that he can do that's
It's like
special. That's when it works,
right.
right?
Because if we go off of my theory, which is it's purely physiological, it's purely he's tired and needs to eat and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
This whole thing could be solved by like a long weekend. You didn't have to fully
Mm-hmm.
quit, dude. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's an angle to this as well that I don't like in general, which is the whole MJ thing, because you're pining after her, you're emotionally distraught. Dude, you rejected her. And I like that they
Mm-hmm.
kind of address that. Like, you
They
said
do.
no. You don't get to feel like this. You don't get to feel like you're missing out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to be upset that she's engaged. You said no. And like I understand that's part
Mm-hmm.
of the conflict. I understand that's the emotional crux of it,
Arguably,
but I don't like it.
MJ pursues Peter in this film, even
Yeah.
though she's the one getting
I don't
engaged,
know
which
why.
I want to
It's
talk about that.
they
I want to talk
never
about that.
they never really
Um,
elaborate on why she likes Peter. They have one weird moment in a hospital room, and
yeah,
then she's just head
yeah,
over
and then she's
heels.
just like
It's like, lady, this
so
is
in
an
love with
astronaut
him
that you've
that
got
she
over
refers
here.
to a guy that she's close enough to being engaged to that she's like asking Peter to say that he loves her, right? They're like at that birthday party, the start of the film. She is making it obvious that she wants to have a moment alone with him so that he can tell her anything important. And
Mm-hmm.
we all know what she's hoping for, and he denies it.
Yeah,
And then she says, I'm seeing someone, by the way. I think I kind of like him. And then apparently we're only like, what, 2 months away from an engagement?
I guess. Seems like it.
Like, we have like, either basically all the integrity of all the characters except for the fiance just completely shot.
Kind of. Poor
Like
John
I
Jameson.
understand,
Justice for John Jameson.
yes. Don't open the caviar.
Don't open a capybara.
It's just I don't understand why in both versions of this story right now, Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2, MJ is in a committed relationship
And actively
with
cheating.
and actively cheating. Like, sure, maybe. Well, I was gonna say maybe it's not physical, but she kisses
No,
other guys
it's physical.
multiple
She
times.
she cheats on every boyfriend she has in every movie of this trilogy, every single one.
it's like I don't know. The infidelity is supposed to be a part of the attraction, I guess, a part of the romance.
It's
I
no,
don't like
it's more
it.
portrayed. It's more portrayed in an earnest way that the relationship between Peter and Mary Jane, they're star-crossed lovers. They are meant to be together, and John
Mhm.
is just collateral. It doesn't matter. I don't like thinking of characters or movies like that. That's a me thing, maybe. I'm sorry, but I don't like that. So I don't
No.
love the way this
Well,
is portrayed in this movie.
and that's the problem, I think. I have the same issue with that framing, this idea that like it's true love, nothing else matters. I think that has the same logical problem in stories, or maybe moral problem in stories, that everyone who really, really loves Darth Vader has in terms of moral
Mm.
issues. Like, there's, yes, it is just a story. There are no direct real world consequences because of the story, or because these two characters are, being disloyal to others, right? Like, there are no direct negative consequences of that. However, your brains don't really determine the difference between fiction and reality. And if you sit here and you think, man, Peter and MJ's love story is just so great,
Hmm.
that means your brain will attune to the idea that if it's true love, then it doesn't really matter how I treat other people that I'm in a committed relationship with,
Right.
so long as I'm pursuing true love. And
Right.
true love is a fairy tale, at
Yeah.
least the way it's often presented in
Like
stories.
on paper,
So,
John Jameson is a much better boyfriend. You know, like been to the play,
mhm.
shows up, take her out
Mhm.
to eat, very
He's an
successful, and
astronaut.
he's an astronaut. Oh my god, he's an astronaut. And I mean, the lady
He
calling
played
him,
football on the
yeah,
moon.
the lady calling him delicious is not great. It's very objectifying. If you did that to a woman, it
Yeah,
wouldn't be
that's true.
acceptable. However, he is delicious, and he's the groom, and he's okay with her inviting. What he doesn't know is he doesn't know that one of them is basically an
Situationship.
ex, but the other one is an ex because Harry's at the wedding, and like that's public
Mhm.
knowledge that they were like, and he's totally fine. He's pushy for like, why did you want to invite your friend? He's your friend. You
Mhm.
want your friends to be there.
Mhm.
So yeah, no. Look,
Clearly
MJ.
smitten with her, like
Yeah.
loves their kiss, while MJ's over there feeling like she's made a
Well,
terrible choice.
there's also this thing where they cannot decide, I don't think, if she knows that Peter is Spider-Man or not, because
Right.
someone pointed out to
I have an issue
me
with that as well.
that she kisses him upside down as a way to recreate the Spider-Man kiss, and it doesn't quite hit the same. But however, in this movie, she does not yet know that Peter is Spider-Man, but she says later, I think I always knew all this time. It's like, well then stop being the way you're being, Amber from Invincible. If you know the situation, you don't get to be a little shit about it. So quit it.
Yeah.
Pick a damn side.
Yeah.
So yeah, Peter's
The only
going
way
through
that
it, but
works
Peter's
is
dumb.
if a
MJ
character
sucks,
is
and John
getting,
is delicious. Sorry.
yeah, the only way that sort of like trope works with the superhero and his girlfriend who doesn't understand is if the girlfriend is getting frustrated with the superhero not telling her about it, right?
Yeah.
Like if she understands why he's constantly late, but feels like he doesn't trust her enough to be like, "Hey, I'm a superhero." I think there's like a deadline for this, right? Like if you've had a committed relationship for a year with a person and you've not told them that you're a superhero, I think they
Sure.
get to be mad at you for that.
Yeah. Sure.
I think they get to be mad at you for
Sure.
that.
Sure.
But there's the MJ thing, frankly, just I think it's just bad writing,
Yeah.
because
Well,
there's
because
no good reason for her
they
to believe that Peter Parker is Spider-Man at this point.
well they
She's not.
portray like she does
I don't
know at
know.
the end of the first movie. That's the thing. They keep going
That's
back and
true. Like
forth.
she
They
recognizes from the
cannot
kiss or
decide.
whatever.
Yeah. They cannot
Hmm.
decide if she knows or doesn't know. And then they say in dialogue, I think I always knew. It's like, well, you didn't act like it. Because at the very end of the movie, when he has to leave in a very romantic moment, you're fine with it because
Hmm.
it's working for you.
Because superhero-y.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, all that to say, I don't love that. But I do, I want to come back to a couple of positives, and then I have some more negatives to get into. Oh, while we're still on this is my last thing. This conflict is beginning because Peter Parker's life sucks because he's Spider-Man. However,
Hmm.
I do think some effort could have been put into making Spider-Man's life difficult because Spider-Man's life is great. They keep having little bits
Mm.
of dialogue where J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson has turned the city against him. No, he hasn't. Every time we see
Yeah.
Spider-Man out and about, people are yelling and cheering and like, take me
Cheering. He's
with
got
you. Like,
fangirls.
yeah, go
Yeah.
Spidey, go! Like Spider-Man
Mhm.
is doing just fine. So I think there's a version of this that makes a little more sense. I think this is what Brand New Day is exploring, where
Yeah.
we embrace the life of Spider-Man because Peter Parker's life sucks so much shit and Spider-Man's doesn't. And I'm not saying that they had to do this 2 movies in, but I think you could have made it a little more evident that it also sucks being Spider-Man, because Spider-Man's doing fine. Spider-Man's kicking ass, taking names, beating the bad guys, and having no issues.
It does kind of feel like they intended to do more with that, because there are a couple of times where it is relevant that the smear campaign has been happening, but it never really lands.
We never
in
see
this
it
film.
outside of the Bugle.
Yeah.
We never see it. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that has a single problem with Spider-Man that isn't J. Jonah Jameson or Dr. Octopus, not counting Harry, obviously.
And May thinks that he's irresponsible at the first.
Sure, but she's also an old woman. All it took was meeting him, and then she was fine. But since you brought that up, segue. This is one of my positives. Segue.
Let's roll.
The moment where Aunt May is moving, and little Henry, Connor, Patrick, David, William, little white boy name, I don't know, Jackson is helping her move and all that. I never really cared about that scene, but this time got me, because when she's talking about what Spider-Man means to people and the strength he gives them, I was like, holy shit, Spider-Man gave her strength that she is now using to give back to Peter, and has created this weird Ouroboros snake of inspiration and strength, and it's so good. And like, motherfucker, just say you know,
Yeah,
because I can see it in your face, like, just say, like, I really liked it this time. When does she know? She doesn't know, but when, like, does she find out? Again, it's the issue of writing, of like, stop talking like you know, because you don't know.
But you could say all those things in a situation where she doesn't know, right? Like, she doesn't have to deliver the lines like she knows.
You could say,
it's been delivered as if she knows.
Right. You could have her saying that while looking at like a photo album of Ben and talking about strength and what it means, without her these knowing nods and glances at Peter. Is like, come on, man, just stop it. Yeah. But I'm shitting on a thing that I really did enjoy in this moment. Like, it got me a little misty, because I felt a great deal of impact from it. Because I was that kid. I wanted to be Spider-Man, and I've always wanted to be Spider-Man. But then, like, I didn't consider the weight of what she said until like this viewing. I also completely misunderstood for forever and ever the joke, where are my old comic books? And she's just like, oh, I gave those away, and his face is distraught. That's just, fun comic book nod in a comic book movie. I thought he included all of his suit sketches with his comic books, and she just gave away evidence of the Spider-Man suit development, of like, whoever owned these comic books is Spider-Man. So the first time I watched that movie, I was like, oh no, someone's gonna find out. Like, obviously that's not what they're doing, but yeah.
I thought at most it was a nod to the fact that Spider-Man had been sold.
Maybe that could be a good one. That's funny.
That moment is good too. I think I got distracted from like the heart of the moment by sitting there thinking, when did she find out? Did she find out? No. Is she supposed to know right now?
Yeah.
Like, I was asking a lot of those questions, and I think it distracted me from what she was actually saying, which, is why you don't do things like that. You make it clear whether or not a character knows, and then you like let the audience sit in that moment rather than confusing them. Please.
Yeah. Because like, I mean, the dialogue ends up becoming where like when she's saying that, I think his name's Henry. When she's saying that Henry needs Spider-Man, it's like she's saying that she needs Peter. Like, it just feels like that. Maybe I'm getting too into it. Maybe the curtains are just, I'm thinking the curtains are blue for 8,000 reasons. Maybe it's more like there's only 10. But it's still a really good moment. I was kind of feeling like
she was saying, it's possible she's saying to Peter that she needs Peter as Peter, but it feels like she's saying to Peter, hey, Spider-Man has disappeared, and I think you can do something about it. And I think you should do something about it. And maybe she's thinking that simply because he works at the Bugle and everyone thinks that they're like best friends anyway. Right. But it doesn't really feel like what's happening.
It definitely feels like more of it. It feels more, yeah. But we'll never explore that again.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
I do think overall the script gets a lot better in this film.
Music is still great.
The music's really good. The special effects.
Special effects are pretty solid.
Like, it
absolutely,
looks good.
There's a lot of puppet work with the legs. which is awesome, very practical.
The arms.
Limbs, yeah, sorry, yeah, with the robotic arms. I'm trying to think of some things to say before we get to like the really really good thing. Um, it's
I
funny
do
that
feel like there are some elements of convenience in
oh
this plot, like
for sure, everything is always
the
somehow
fact that
rotating around Peter's life. Always,
yes, exactly.
always. They go to the
I think
one
the one that
bank that
really
he's gonna be at.
that's
Like,
that's where I was going. Yeah,
yeah,
Otto Octavius just showing up and
yeah,
robbing the one bank
the
that
one
they are
bank.
where they normally aren't,
Yeah,
and happens to be the same
yeah,
time. Like that's
yeah, and all of New York's.
bad writing.
Yes, no, for sure. Um, let's see here. Okay, I'm just gonna get into it. The train fight sequence is spectacular.
It's iconic.
I've always loved it. I did get it got me a little bit more this time as well, just thinking like he goes from doing nothing to this, which is
Mm-hmm.
insane. And considering all the things we've
Mm-hmm.
seen Spider-Man do, I do think this is the most impressive thing he's ever done in our live action movies thus far. Let me think for a second. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Um so that's pretty amazing. No pun intended. The fight itself is great. And him swinging around and rolling around is great. The clock arm hand being broken and the
Mm-hmm.
metal sound effects and him throwing it back at him, all of that's great. I'm glazing it because I have two really annoying nitpicks that I know nobody cares about. Okay, I know, but it bothers me.
Okay. Okay. Let's hear 'em.
Doctor Octopus should have never taken a single hit from Spider-Man ever.
Okay.
And they do that in No Way Home. When Tom's fights him, the arms block every single punch.
Mm.
It should have been
Mm-hmm.
that in this, because not only do you have to mentally write that Spider-Man is pulling every single punch in a fight to like what seems like the death, and you want to stop this fight, all you have to do is smack him like with relative ease and knock him out. You're doing it for 8
Mm-hmm.
minutes. He's landing.
Mm-hmm.
They're like in a bar fight. Boom, boom,
Mm-hmm.
boom. And this dude, who is just a dude, and it's included in comic books later that that's why Doctor Octopus eventually dies, is because he took multiple hits from a superhuman who is somewhere between Captain America and the Hulk, but very much not you.
Yeah.
He dies of the
Yeah.
physical damage, but he's just fine. He doesn't even break his glasses. I mean, Aunt May
Yeah.
breaks his glasses later. That bothers me because they put in enough thought that anytime Doc Ock lifts something, one arm at the very least is on the ground to transfer
Right,
the
an
weight.
anchor. Mm-hmm.
Yes, when he throws the cops at the bank, one arm is down. It's because the weight isn't going through his legs. That is
Yeah.
phenomenal in a
This is really
2004
good.
movie. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But they
I do feel
don't.
like in general they do a pretty good job with the arms physics. Like they
Oh,
make me
yeah.
believe that
It's
it would work.
yeah, and the sound effects and the
Mm-hmm.
design of them is super cool. It's like weird. It's like techie, but also almost steampunky with how cringy and
Mm-hmm.
groungy it is. I don't know if either of those are
Mm-hmm.
words. The other
No, but it's
nitpick,
fine.
yeah, grungy is a word. Um,
Grungy.
the other nitpick that I can't get past it. It's so annoying. Spider-Man's suit throughout that entire fight changes from blue to black every other scene. It is not subtle. It is not, I don't think, purely an
Okay.
effects error. It is. I swear to
Mm.
God, there are scenes where he's wearing a suit that is black and red, and wearing a suit that is black and blue, or red and blue. It is. You could color drop it. Pause every other scene. It is not, oh, it's shading. Oh, it's a little darker. No. There are scenes where it is blue, and there are scenes where it is black, and I hate it. It is so
I don't
sloppy
know if
for
I
other.
noticed it. I
Okay,
definitely
look,
like
I know it's a
felt
me
like
thing.
something.
I
Yeah,
could show it to you right now. It's literally
I
every
believe
other
you.
scene, and I know no one cares about that because it is drowned out by the absolute phenomenal moment of
No,
him
that's
stopping a
bad.
train with his bare hands, which is absolutely incredible. Also doing it without a mask, and the whole illusion is shattered. And we have this incredible scene
Mm.
where everyone stands up for him. It's great. It's great. It's great. Those are his brothers that give him the mask. It's great. It's great. But the color thing bothers me. It bothers me so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I generally agree with all of that. I mean, I didn't really notice the suit thing so much as you did, but I do feel like it's hard to believe that Spidey throwing real punches
I know. Come
wouldn't just like
on.
kill
Come
Otto.
on. Like,
Um,
yeah, he's
yeah,
just a dude. He's
yeah,
just a
and it feels
dude.
like Spidey's throwing real punches
It
at
looks
that point.
like it.
You
It
know?
sounds like it.
Yeah. Uh huh.
Like,
Um,
damn.
and then like the end of the heart of that scene, I think, is actually kind of part of what makes this film a step above the previous one.
Hmm.
Is New York really feels like a character in this
Yes.
movie,
That's a good way to
and
put
this is the
it.
moment where it pays off. Like we spend so much time in this film getting random citizen interactions with Spidey or the things that are happening, and well, every now and then it feels a little bit like token ish, like, like got to make sure we get a shot of, girls liking Spider-Man, got to make a
Hmm.
shot of
Hmm.
like of street levels, him swinging. It feels a little bit kind of like forced at times, but for the most part, the intentional and constant inclusion of the streets of New York and the people on those streets, I think, makes it a really, really good superhero film.
Hmm.
There's not only do we get a strong sense of New York and that adds flavor to the film, it also really makes it clear that being a superhero matters, right? It's not just some fantasy where I get to be strong and awesome.
Hmm.
It's I am making a difference in the lives of other people. I am genuinely doing something that matters,
Hmm.
right? And there's also like a sort of reality aspect to it too, where it's just like, in the very beginning, he's like, the Spider-Man stole that guy's pizzas. It's sort of like what you're doing is watched
Hmm.
and it matters, right? So again, it's just like I feel like the train scene is sort of like the capital element of this. So we don't really get too
Hmm.
many more street level things after this scene. All of it builds up to this scene, and the payoff is
So
great.
good.
Like obviously, for all the reasons other people have talked about it, but, there's just they're with him, they're for him. They're like, hey, you did this for us, we'll do this for you.
Hmm.
There's a sort of like ecosystem there that's established
Yeah.
where, again, Spider-Man or Peter Parker is going to give everything he can to be a hero because it matters. He's going to give up and sacrifice a lot for it. And the city turns around and says, "We'll do that for you too."
Yeah.
You know?
Good
And I
stuff.
think it really speaks to the sort of like you need to take care of yourself moral that this movie should have had.
Hmm.
This idea that community comes together and being alone is not good for anybody, and it really doesn't matter if you're doing it for the greater good. You need to make sure you have connections with people. Like that is the moral this film should have had,
Hmm.
and we don't get it. Instead, we get a watered down, weak version of a love story
Uh-huh.
where it matters because we got the girl at the end instead
Hmm.
of being in community at the end. And it feels like I'm talking maybe splitting hairs a little bit there because like isn't being in a relationship with someone a good representation of like having important relationships and being in a community?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Except the only way they show it is through MJ.
Yeah.
And it's like the romance is more important than the connection. And
Yeah.
that's not what I'm
There's
saying.
there's a if I give the movie credit, I think what the
Hmm.
end of the movie is saying is honesty is the best policy. Like that's a very watered down version, which is like his whole issue, the whole movie, is he
Hmm.
thinks he has to choose. And he doesn't.
Right.
And that's the point. Is if you're
Hmm.
just honest, you don't have to choose. There is a way that you can have both, and you can figure it out. Because you're a 20-year-old idiot and you didn't know that. And there's
Hmm.
strength to that, but that needs to be built up more. That needs to be
Well, and
explored more.
that's I think going honesty is too simple for
Yeah.
the story because if honesty was the move, we do a whole thing um, where he reveals his identity, and that's
Yeah.
what ends the
But
story and makes him happy.
all of this is accident. Like he doesn't reveal it to her
Right,
intentionally. There's also
right,
the
and
yeah. Sorry,
I was
I
just gonna
was.
say like the moral of the story as it's set up has to be a self care moral. It
Mm,
has to
mhm.
be, and they just don't land it. I think maybe potentially because self-care is a relatively new sort of like common
Oh,
idea.
maybe.
The idea that you have to take care of yourself to take care of others, that wasn't very common
Hmm.
before. And superhero films were all about that self-sacrifice martyr
Of
move,
course.
right?
Yeah.
Um, but this film was going to say, no, we're not going to do that. And it didn't even want to explore. like how a balanced life looks. It
Mhm.
just said the way that we fix that is we get a girlfriend. And that's not the full story,
Yeah.
you know? I don't know.
Yeah, well, we're approaching our time. We need to spend some time talking about some Doc Ock nitpicks beyond what I've already said. Um,
Okay. What else you got?
well, Doc Ock is great. Awesome villain. Cool design. Really dig it. And I know that people have talked about this before, but I gotta talk about it. You're gonna get maybe the Nobel Prize for creating sustainable fusion. That's fantastic, dude. Do you think anyone in this world is also gonna maybe want some elaboration on how you developed artificial intelligence, metal impervious to magnetism and heat, and basically biological technological integration just to checks notes? Keep some big fiery rings within a ball. Like, there are versions of Doc Ock where it's very much a clip on, clip off. Why did you have to have it needled into your spine?
Agreed.
Does it not imply to you that he was never gonna take it off? You really gonna tell me that it has to be on
Well,
your spine every single time you do that? It really had to be like that every single time. Even if it
well, I mean,
doesn't, do you have? Why did they need an artificial intelligence? You don't
a
need the
lot of
artificial intelligence. Like,
I would argue a lot of it actually makes sense, just not to the extremes with which they show it narratively. I think
yeah,
having implements, like robotic implements that would be used to manipulate the environment that you cannot go into, that makes sense. The
sure,
fact that it would need to be so fine tuned to what you're doing that it needs to be integrated with your thoughts,
to an extent,
I
sure,
buy that too.
sure.
hmm the best way to access that is through a direct connection. Okay, your science is getting complicated, but I'm following. The problem with it is that's where we get into the revolutionary science aspect that we're just going to go ahead and ignore
Yeah,
revolutionary science. Like that one lady, like AI is not a new concept, but it is a new technology, I would argue. And that one reporter lady was ready for that question about how do you
I
know that
we,
AI isn't going to take
when
over your brain? And I went, hold on,
what?
wait
Yeah,
just 1 second. Let me finish my
she,
thought. Hold
yeah,
on, just wait one
yeah,
second. She's able to ask that question when in reality, the artificial intelligence that Otto has created to control the arms, or to at least help him control the arms, shouldn't be like true sentient artificial intelligence. It should be like a really, really, really good program
yep,
that balances out and smooths his actions.
yeah,
That's the furthest that
right,
needed to be. For it to be full on AI, as
yeah,
in sentient,
uh
as
huh,
in it makes its own programming,
yeah,
that was not necessary for the
nope,
implement that he created.
nope.
And also, even if it were that, computer signals are not, we don't know how computer signals interact with the brain. And I'm pretty sure it wouldn't translate to mind control. Pretty sure. So why would she ask that question?
Yeah.
You know? Um,
Couldn't
so
that
like
make you
I do
vulnerable to
always,
the AI and these smart arms? All he said was these smart arms do this and that. It's like, if the artificial intelligence is as advanced as you said, lady, he didn't say anything about an overly
yeah,
advanced AI, but apparently
yeah,
that's the case.
yeah. So there's questions about like what science is he really in? What has
No
he developed that
kidding.
he's just ignoring? And also the story writing just gets, it's essentially a plot hole, I think, and the idea that like artificial intelligence would be a danger to him unless there's some sort of crazy science experiment, like basically like this in the superhero world, the lab experiment goes wrong and gives you powers is the flux capacitor of the world.
Mm-hmm.
We don't question it because it makes the story happen, and they usually give us just enough science to make it somewhat logically plausible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I feel like happens here for the most part. I think they just take it too far. They
Mm-hmm.
move too fast with the details, and they trust you to be like just overlooking it.
Yeah.
When in reality, they could have gone as simple as him explaining that the arms are really hard to control even with the direct mental like plug, so I have to add a program where they understand the task and are motivated to complete the task to the best of their ability.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
then you have an AI that makes sense for all the character motivations
mhm.
that happen after that, right?
I don't
Not
hate
hard.
that, but I hate it. So I no, like how what you're saying for like this movie, I think it makes
Hmm.
more sense, and I needed to explore something like that because as it's shown, you didn't need AI for shit, man. You didn't need it for
Mm-mm.
shit other than this goleming thing, and I think that problem that comes from that is they shouldn't have made him so goddamn charming and level-headed. Because like he's
Mm.
not a believable villain without this AI thing that's either
Hmm.
taking over his brain or influencing it, which has always been confusing to me all the way to No Way Home. Because I don't think it makes a lot of sense. Because No Way Home and this in the beginning kind of portray that they take over, but then throughout this one, Spider-Man 2, in the ending, he can just decide if he wants to tell the arms
I
to
do
stop.
feel like the willpower thing is in direct contrary, like it contrasts incorrectly. It clashes. There we
Yeah,
go. It clashes with the burnout story.
yeah,
The burnout story is all about using your willpower to detriment to yourself. You are
mm,
willing yourself to get it all done, and you can't get it all done, and you keep willing it to happen, and you're driving yourself into the ground. It's not happening,
mm.
right? So the idea that for our villain, the correct answer is to just willpower away the AI's influence,
Right.
that's the wrong
Yeah.
narrative move.
I
It was bad.
I think there's a different version of this that is better for all of it. Other than again,
Mm,
we lose a very charming Alfred Molina portrayal, which is Doc Ock should have been a fucking weirdo the way he is in the comics.
mm.
It should have been a gamble.
But you hate that guy.
I know. Just there's a whole, oh, yeah, yeah. But it would make more sense because he's like that, and Osborn, because he's an idiot, is it's a gamble to fund his research, and so Parker goes and
Mhm,
visits because Parker doesn't care about vanity, glory, but he just knows of this brilliant scientist, and he goes and meets him,
mhm.
and he's already got the arms on, but they come off. He can take them on, he can put them on, he can put them on, take them off, and they are very advanced. Like they could look the same way, but they're super, super, super touchy. It takes a very level head to control them. There's no AI. There's just
Okay.
focus. And somewhere,
Mhm.
during one of these interactions, Peter or Osborn says something that pisses him off, and the arm does something that's very clearly reacting to his emotions. And then when we lose Rosie, or something else, that the experiment goes wrong, because he breaks, the negative emotion is channeled through the arms. They are an extension and an
It kind of becomes like a
expression.
feedback loop.
Yes, it's
Mhm,
because you have to focus, and then like the accident can still meld them to his body, but then
mhm,
if he's angry, the arms are angry, and it's just, you know what? Fine, let's
mhm.
embrace it. Let's fucking embrace it. Because I think there's something to that. Because then he's a fuckwit. He's a crazy, unstable fuckwit, not some regular charming man who is kind of pushed to a full-blown life of crime and murder because the
Mhm,
AI in the arms is like, hey, rebuild your thing. It's like, okay, well then I'll threaten this lady and I'll kill a superhero. Yeah, that seems
mhm.
within character. Like, I love this movie. I do, as much as I nitpick it. There's lots of good stuff. It got me more this time. I get where people are coming from. However, Doc Ock's coolness in this movie is equaled by how much it doesn't make any sense. Because it just
There were times
doesn't.
where I wanted to see more resistance from Otto.
Yeah.
Like, especially when Harry says, "I want you to bring me Spider-Man," and it sounds like you wanted him to, like, kill him, and Otto
Yeah.
just kinda goes, "Yeah,
Okay.
sure, that's
Right.
fine."
Also,
And I'm like,
even if
okay."
even if he doesn't hear Harry say don't hurt Peter, you're throwing what
Mm,
you think is this little asthmatic nerd up against a brick wall who's now covered in rubble. You killed him. He's dead.
yeah,
Also,
yeah.
also, I know CinemaSins also probably pointed this out, but it's fair. Otto Octavius, what did you think was going to happen when you threw a car at them? If he wasn't
Mhm,
Spider-Man, they're
mhm.
dead.
Yeah, no,
Okay?
agreed.
You need to
It
make clear if he is Golluming or if he is under the control of the AI, because it is not made clear. We're going back and forth, and I don't like it.
I like your idea about, like, the characterization of Octavius and Otto in general. I do feel like I do feel like we missed something because Otto is the
Probably.
closest we come to seeing balance and success in life for Peter. And I think that small conversation they have, that dinner they have with Rosie, is really, really important to the sort of like narrative of the movie. So you'd have to find a way to replace it.
I think we could still have that. I just don't think you have to
You
have him
think?
be. I think you can have him be weird and a little unstable and clearly, I don't know, I'm using a bunch of, thesaurus words.
Negative.
A little negative, maybe a little arrogant, and then he finds camaraderie in Peter, and Peter finds camaraderie
Okay.
in him. I think because that's basically
Hmm.
what the game did, and it's
You
still
science
believable.
bros.
Yeah, Science Bros,
Mhm.
like you don't have to make him so appealing. It's just like across the board. You
Mhm.
could make him someone who's appealing to Peter, but and you could still have that moment because I like that again. He could take off the arms. We can have that moment with Rosie, and we can have this lady has found an appreciation and a love for this weirdo. I look at that couple, they are the comfiest, sexiest couple of this whole movie. They are vibing, they are chilling, they love each other, and they're looking good. They're
Mhm.
like in their mid 40s, whatever. They're great.
Mhm.
Horrible advice of just reading poetry to people. That's awful. It's the cringiest part of this whole
Yeah.
movie is
No,
Peter doing that
it
to
was bad
that's
advice.
terrible. Like maybe Otto consider reading poetry to an English literature major, over
Oh, and I would actually argue reading poetry to understand matters of the heart's pretty good advice. Reading poetry
sure.
to the person you love but
No.
not understanding poetry, bad choice.
No, 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 no.
Bad choice.
Yes, yeah. So
Bad choice.
I think there's so much good to Otto Octavius in this movie. There's also though so
Mhm.
much wrong.
Mhm.
Truly, just
The performance, I think, in a lot of ways saves it, especially as someone who's less familiar with the
the
film. I think
performance,
mhm,
yes, but the
you
writing
kind
is
of like,
inconsistent.
well, and I'm not saying that the writing is somehow correct because the performance is good. What I'm saying is, as you sit down to watch it, you want to believe that Otto is a victim in all of
Yeah,
this, so you
yeah.
let yourself believe it. And that's the performance kind of like covers the plot holes. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean they're not there still, but I think it does kind of like emotionally, you're not stuck on them as much as
Mm-hmm.
you would be if the performance wasn't good, which I think is what the problem with Harry and maybe MJ really boils down to is the performances are just quite lackluster at
Yeah.
times. It's hard to believe them. It's like they're just delivering lines at a school play sometimes. Ouch, that
Kinda.
was a lot. Anyway, um, there's just it's like the delivery doesn't matter. So long as we say
Mm-hmm.
the line has been said, we
A
can
little
move
bit.
on. And I'm like, that's not how acting works. You have to like have a reason to say the thing. There are
Mm-hmm.
several lines actually in this film. This is disconnected, but there are several lines in this film that are just said with no real reason or heart or purpose or motivation behind them. Like, why does the butler say your father only ever got himself
Obsessed
invested in
over his
this work?
work. It's like, okay, you're just being a
Yeah,
dick.
why say that? Like,
Yeah.
are you trying to console him? Are you trying to critique him? Are you trying to remind him of what his father was like? What is the purpose of that line? We don't know because it's not delivered with any intention. He just says it and walks off stage. It's very irritating. Anyway, so Alfred's performance as Otto ends up being one of the most engaging performances in the film, and therefore you like the character even if the character doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I think that's important just because that's kind of like the crux of a superhero story. Lots of things in superheroes don't make sense. You just want to believe them because of the narrative that is being told, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like maybe even more so than the first one, this film seems to be a common blueprint for superhero films following it because of the way that they write the interactions between the villain and the hero and what's happening narratively with the hero, right? He's not just struggling with villains, he's also struggling with identity and like who he is and what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this one set the tone to like Spider-Man 1 wasn't a fluke. This could actually be good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, this one has lots of significant weak points. But what I see in Spider-Man 2, which I didn't see in Spider-Man 1, is actual intention.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
like
Mm-hmm.
I get that people really like the first one. I don't think it's good. I can see moments of glimmers where it kind of gets good for a second, but it's like small and few and in between, right? Like it's very disconnected little moments of good. In
Okay,
this
okay.
in this one, I actually see a lot of
Yeah,
potential. I see a lot of good. It's just not quite there yet,
not
is
quite.
kind of my idea with it. And they've also continuously shot themselves in the foot with this MJ thing.
Yeah,
It's just really bad.
yeah. Totally agree. And we're
um,
we're a little past our time, but there's a
yeah.
few more things we have to
Okay.
say before we're done.
Okay. What do you gotta say?
Did skip over it. The hospital room scene, fantastic.
Okay.
Whether that be,
Mhm.
the what I want is the subconscious emotions coming through, or the AI, don't really care in that moment. It's terrifying. It's amazing.
Mhm.
Love it. Final fight, it's whatever. It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, it's
Giant
fine.
giant star in the river, sucking it in. Do we beat the villain or not? Kind of hard to say. Like we do, but we don't. We're also revealing our identity to everyone but Aunt May. Um, Doc Ock brings Spidey back to Harry. Awesome. Harry finds out. You could just say, this is like Batman versus Superman before Batman versus Superman. Just say the fucking line, dude. Just say, hey, Lex is manipulating us and I need your help. Just say,
Mhm.
I didn't try to kill your
Mhm.
dad. He tried to kill me. See how quick that took? See how quick that took? We're not going to have that conversation for another 2 years, these dumb motherfuckers. Anyway, Tritium, just in our penthouse? Okay, fine. I don't like that Doc Ock can sneak away like Spider-Man. You can't have half the time
Mhm.
him being dramatic and shaking the whole fucking building whenever he's entering, and then also have him be able to move like the wind. Don't do that.
Mhm.
Doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
Um, the arms. Still confused. Do you think it's one AI or four?
One.
It was only actually this movie that I realized there's probably just one. I used to think that
Yeah.
each one was its own thing,
Was independent.
kind of like
Oh no.
Ghidorah. I
I
think
assumed
I
it
thought
was
each
like in the
one,
base.
which makes sense, but like because each one has a
Mhm.
camera, it made me think each one has its own
Fair.
view, each one has its own mentality. Doesn't need
Mhm.
that. Doesn't need that at all. But that's just what I
Mhm.
thought for some reason. They still confuse me. Where's the power source? Don't know.
Mm.
When Otto dies, they die. Is he the power source? Well, it's water. No,
Yeah,
it's
that's a
not,
weird
because they got
choice.
splashed and they were fine. So why did
Mhm.
the arms? The technology of the arms is magic. They're amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
well, MJ
Kind of like the
ditches.
psychology of this film.
Yeah,
Just
kind of,
because it needs to happen, it happens.
kind of. MJ ditches John. I hate that for John. Don't up the caviar.
Yeah.
Um, when Spidey catches the cop car flying through the air in the first like Spidey chase scene when he chases the bad guys, that is pretty amazing. That's a really good
Mhm.
moment. Oh, so good.
Mhm.
Um,
There are lots of good Spidey moments in
oh
this, and not
yeah.
like quips or anything, but just like superhero moments.
Superhero
It's good.
stuff. Just
Mhm.
being Spider-Man. I guess that's it. I shat on it a lot. I
Yeah.
do like it, and I liked it more after watching it. But like the things I
Well,
don't
and the
like
fact that
bother me.
you say you like it now, and last week you were like, "Ugh,
I
the
know.
second
I know.
one," like
I
that's
know.
sick,
Yeah.
And I honestly, I was engaged the whole time.
Oh, absolutely.
I I liked it.
Yeah.
I'd say. I
There's
think there are serious weaknesses,
there's a
but
great deal of
overall,
good. Yes.
and I think I really, honestly, if you chop off the first half and just watch the first half, it's honestly really good.
Hmm.
The second half doesn't follow through on what the first half sets up,
Not quite.
I
I think
think,
it's more
is
like
ultimately what boils down to.
yeah. The second half of the first act, all of the second act, and nope. Yeah, it's the third act that I have the most issues with because I think the whole second
I
act
think
is pretty great.
if we're gonna pin a point on it, I feel like the announcement of the proposal and that they are now engaged is kind of the point where it goes off the rails a little bit
Mm.
because like that party's a great example of what they were doing so well. Peter's there because he has a job to do. Harry's there because he's kind of hosting slash it's an event that he would go to.
Mhm.
MJ is there. Oh, surprise, surprise, because turns out she's dating someone who's significant to the project.
Of
That's
course.
actually a great twist. It really twists the dagger a little bit. The engagement, why are they getting how are they getting engaged? Why are they getting engaged when MJ is clearly still like doing this dance with Peter? I know she rejects him, but like there are moments, right?
Because
Like
she's just using him
why
to get back at Peter. Because John isn't a
I
character.
guess
His emotions don't
and
matter.
And that's when everything else starts kind of falling apart too. Like it becomes more about MJ, then it becomes about life balance. It becomes about like the power thing really bothers me just because the logic of it doesn't make sense with
Right.
a good strong narrative.
Yeah.
It's literally just I can't be Spider-Man. I can be a hero, but I can't be Spider-Man until MJ needs me to be
Right.
Spider-Man, which is
Mm.
not what
Mm-mm.
the story is.
No.
Anyway,
Also, it's not addressed at
um,
all. Peter's life when he quits is pretty good. You know, he's doing
mhm.
good stuff. Yeah, that's wonderful. Yes. How is he paying rent? There's no one to take pictures of anymore, Peter. Did you
Yeah.
think about
Yeah, I
that?
agree too.
We never see
Yeah.
him get another job. What you doing?
Yeah.
What you doing for money? Whatever.
Mhm.
It is a whale.
Yeah.
It is a whale. Highly recommend. I truly do. But the things that bother me will always bother me because the things that bother me are the love story, the back and forth with Otto that'll never be clarified, and innocent people needing help not being enough. I don't like that. And that's just
Yeah. Mhm.
that's a thing I think that
Or even just like being Spidey for Peter's sake isn't enough.
yeah.
It has to be connected to the MJ, the
Yeah.
magic girl that makes everything worth it.
Yeah. That's us though.
Yeah, I
Cool.
don't know. I feel like it's probably a whale.
It is a
I
whale.
I
I mean,
struggle to call it a whale, but I think it probably is a
you
whale.
need to remember some of the movies we're going to watch in the next couple of weeks, and you need to be a little more liberal with your whales, because if this isn't a whale, it's going to be a long time before we get one that
I
is.
don't deliver whales at frequency or
You
ratio
okay?
based off of
You
the
but like
series we're
I
watching.
understand, but like you got to put it. I do consider a little bit where it ranks with the others. You know, like if the bar is on the ground sometimes, and I don't know if we go that far with these movies, but like this is a good
The
movie.
bar is on the ground, and this is
I'm not
two
saying
inches off the ground.
I'm
You're
not.
gonna give it a whale?
No, because it's more than 2 inches. We'll get there,
I
okay?
okay.
It's just like next
Yeah.
week is gonna be worse, okay? Like we gotta at least acknowledge that this one is a solid movie. There's great.
I
We said
give
we were
this one a
engaged,
solid B.
which is a whale. B plus is a whale. Okay, Mac is frozen, so I'm gonna end the episode now. So yeah, we're good. All right, bye everybody.